Welcome to the Saturday Slam and Jam. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. With me, as always, is Alex Speers. Today, we have a special episode. We are talking about the 2025 NBA Draft, and we're talking about the current rookie class. And there's nobody better to talk about both of those things with than our guy, Sam Vecenie. Sam, welcome back to the Slam and Jam.
Truly, there is no show I enjoy doing more than this one. It is fun. I get my ass kicked in trivia every time. And it's just such an enjoyable experience. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to get to chat with you.
Yeah, so we do these episodes a little differently because we just need to talk to Sam. We just need to pick his brain for the entire hour plus. So buckle up. So Sam, every year at the draft lottery, there's a fan base that feels like they missed the top tier of prospects by one spot. This year, will that be the same team that gets the number 3 pick? Or do you think that it's possible that another prospect joins the top tier with Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper by the end of the season?
I don't think it's likely that another prospect will join that top 2 group. But I have had this question posed to me by a few people, like how many players would go number 1 overall in the 2024 draft from the 2025 group, right? And I do think Kasparis would go number 1 in 2024.
Okay.
Look, Ace Bailey, I'm sure we'll talk about him, like fascinating player. I think if you ask GMs right now, would they take Ace Bailey over whoever they had at number 1, which was very widespread and different for every front office last year. I think that some would take Ace Bailey. So I think it'd be like 3.5 right now would be my response. But I would say in terms of like real franchise changing talent, Cooper Flagg is absolutely that. I think Dylan Harper could be that for sure. I really like Dylan. He's like right on that precipice of like tier 1, tier 2 grade for me. I love everything I've seen from Dylan Harper. All of the intel with Dylan is extremely high level, much like it is for Cooper. Cooper's intel is just like some of the best intel like I've gotten about a prospect. And then Dylan's is also exceptionally high level. So there aren't a lot of red flags with either of those players. And I think that's what's so exciting about those two particularly.
So if this is a 2-player draft at the top, let's just say, if you're looking at like the bottom 7 or 8 teams in the NBA right now, which teams do you think most need to jump up into that top 2? Who should be most desperate?
Yeah. So the answer to me is like Portland, number 1. Like I just am not, Portland is not an untalented basketball team. Like they're sitting at 7 right now in the draft order as we speak, right? It's not like they don't have guys, but I'm fairly worried about the Scoot Henderson experience at this point. I do think that like a coaching change is in order there. I would like to see Scoot under a different coach, especially after he played really well without Chauncey Billups there for a few games earlier this season, I think about a month ago. So I would really like to see just like a different voice there, but you know, Scoot himself, it's all flashes. It's not consistent play. And it feels like a lot of the time he doesn't regularly understand like the tempo of the game in the way that you need to at the point guard position. So, I mean, they you know, kind of strike me as a team that could really use one. Brooklyn, obviously, but like Brooklyn is also in a big market. And from what I understand about kind of their plans moving forward, they have so many draft picks now and they have so much flexibility in cap space moving forward that they're going to be able to turn this thing around on the fly pretty quickly. Right. And I don't think they're just looking at this draft as like, we have to get number 1 or number 2. They're looking at things holistically and saying, we need to get another star in the building and we want to position ourselves in order to be able to find that star either via free agency, trade market, or the NBA draft. So given all of the assets that they have, given everything that they have kind of strung together via a series of moves here recently, the Mikal Bridges deal, everything like that, they're in like a pretty positive position, I think. Washington also, you know, strikes me as a team that could desperately use a real star, obviously. I think that if they were to get number 1, a core defensively of Cooper Flagg, Bilal Koulibaly and Alex Sarr would just be so fun to watch.
Yeah.
In the front court at the 3-4-5. I don't know that Washington necessarily has like, I like Alex Sarr a lot. I'm really interested in his development throughout the course of this season, but I don't think he's like a number one option down the road. And I certainly don't think Bilal is going to be a number one option down the road. So they really do need somebody who can come in and be that guy. And then, the last team here that really stands out is Utah. Their rookies obviously have not played particularly well this year, outside of Kyle Filipowski, who has looked quite good for where he was selected in the second round. Cody Williams, that was always going to be a project. We'll talk about Cody a little bit later, but Cody is somebody that I think the flags are starting a little bit early with him. Maybe Isaiah Collier has been just exceptionally inefficient. I'm not really a Keontae George guy, and then Taylor Hendricks obviously suffered that horrific injury early in the season, so they could really use somebody as well to pair with Lauri Markkanen, and I think that a lot of their plans are kind of hinging on that at some point.
Yeah, you hear people question if Cooper Flagg can be a number one guy.
Sure.
Do you question that as well?
To an extent, yes, if only because I question what level he will get to as a shooter. Mm-hmm. He has kind of an unnatural shooting motion, as we've all seen at this point. And I do think that there's going to be some work that has to be done there. But I have just like this immense faith in Cooper Flagg as a player, prospect, competitive human being. Like when you talk to people around the NBA, around college basketball, around high school basketball, about Cooper Flagg, they just bring up competitiveness and work ethic, like unannounced, basically a lot of the time. Like you won't even necessarily ask them about, specifically what's Cooper like off the court, whatever. They'll just be like, he's one of the most competitive human beings we've ever seen. He's one of the hardest workers we've ever been around. He just has this immense drive and desire to win that he's going to do whatever it takes to be the guy that wins. And it's going to extend to the NBA. It has already extended to college. The way he has figured out college basketball over these last 3 or so weeks as a guy who just turned 18 years old is kind of staggering. Like he just dropped 42 against Notre Dame this past weekend as we're speaking. He is an unbelievable competitor that I really just buy into being a real number one option at some point. Like maybe you do want to have a primary guard scoring option next to him at some point. Like that might be the best way to get the most out of a Cooper Flagg built team. But I do believe in him as being the best player on a team at the very least at a pretty high level.
Mm-hmm. So you have Ace Bailey going third in your current mock draft. You have Kasparis. Help me with Kasparis' last name.
Yakushonis
and VJ Edgecombe going next. How close are these three? And then is there anything that any of them can do to get into the top two?
Some of this will be dependent on draft order. I think. Like, if Charlotte was to get number 2, I would be interested to see what they would do with Dylan Harper and LaMelo Ball. Right? Yeah. I would just take Dylan Harper, but I would be intrigued to see what their thought process on it would be. I don't have the answer on that as we talk. I think that there are circumstances, depending on how the lottery shakes out, that it could become more of a question. For me personally, on my board, I would be surprised if Kasparis, particularly, I would be surprised if I don't have Kasparis at number 3 by the end of the season, in all honesty. I don't even have Ace at number 4 personally right now. I have Edgecombe at 4. So like, Ace is the guy, though, that you can sell yourself on going a little bit higher if a team just really buys into, okay, this is a guy that his 3-minute, this is kind of the line I keep saying, right? Like his 3-minute or 4-minute highlight video that you put together at the end of his season is going to look better than everybody else's 3-minute or 4-minute highlight video.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Like, his shot making ability is that special. He also, when he locks in defensively, like, he was actually pretty good in the game against UCLA tonight. Defensively, I thought he was really good in the game against Alabama defensively. He's 6'9". He is switchable. He has instincts as a weak side rim protector. Like, the name Jaden McDaniels is a name I've kind of gotten a couple of times for him in terms of like, okay, maybe it doesn't work out as a scorer for him, but can he just be such a good athlete that he's capable of taking on tough assignments and being able to like find a floor in the NBA that way? I think Jaden was a little bit better instinctually than Ace was, and I thought he was just, but neither of them were like super engaged defensively in college either. So it's a little bit tricky, I think. And again, like, Jaden went 27th or whatever, 28th on draft night. So you're not having to take that risk at number 3, number 4, number 5. Ace is by far the trickiest player to evaluate in this class. It's going to be a lot of deep dive intel research on the team side and on my side. It's going to be a lot of trying to really dive into the tape. I mean, I just did a video on the Game Theory YouTube channel, like, breaking down. I mean, he was abysmal defensively in the Indiana game. Just got back cut constantly, took some of the worst shots I've ever seen a human being take in a basketball game in my life. I think I might have said in the video, it was the worst 39-point game I've ever seen somebody have in my life. And I've watched a lot of Cam Thomas games at this point. So,
watched a lot of Cam Thomas games.
like, it was a hard watch. So
yeah,
Ace is one of the more interesting players that you'll find in really like this last decade of the NBA draft. He is somebody that is also like only 5 months older than Cooper. Like, he's really young for the class as well. So you want to buy into the potential for growth. The way that teams go about evaluating Ace is, in my opinion, going to be probably the most interesting thing about this 2025 NBA draft, outside of who gets the number 1 overall pick and gets a chance to end up with Cooper Flagg.
What do you do with his free throw shooting? Because like, I was trying to think of guys who were that poor of free throw shooters and became shooters. I was thinking like Jaylen Brown. He was like mid 60s. And I think Ace right now is like around 56% or something from the line.
Yeah.
Do you just kind of, what do you do?
I have a theory. It is just that. My theory is that because he has a relatively flat shot trajectory a decent amount of the time, and because he plays very stiff and doesn't get a lot of bend through his lower half, I think that he probably is a little bit more of an inconsistent free throw shooter than he is in the run of play of a like real basketball game where, okay, I have to really jump up and engage and like elevate over the top of somebody, because every shot the guy takes is contested. Like, that's what it feels like when you watch it, like Rutgers games, right? So he has to like really bend and elevate and jump up and like kind of gets his rhythm that way. I kind of wonder if that's what's happening with the free throw shooting a little bit. He's not kind of getting that same level of lower half engagement, and it's leading to, you know, inconsistent free throw results. Ace Bailey has touch. Like, I'm not real. So the way that people use free throw shooting a lot of the time is as a touch indicator, right?
Yeah.
If you make the kind of shots that Ace Bailey does, I kind of artificially just refuse to believe you don't have touch, right? It's just a matter of ironing out the consistency and whether or not that consistency ever comes. And in Ace's case, I think that there is a wider degree of variance in his potential as a shooter than a lot of players I've evaluated previously.
So your last big board was on December 3rd. You did a mock last week. I'm assuming you got a big board coming up soon. Off the top of your head, who are some of the biggest risers and fallers in this last month and a half for you personally?
Biggest risers, fallers in the last month and a half. So Thomas Sorber is a guy that I really like at Georgetown. 6'9" to 6'10" big man who is just really sharp defensively, really reactive on the court, can really pass the ball, reacts to the game at a super high level. Like you can just see the way he's thinking about the game on the court. Like it feels like even as a freshman, there are times where he's like kind of organizing what Georgetown is doing out there. I've been really, really, really super impressed with what I've seen from him this season. Another guy that's like really risen is definitely Jeremiah Fears at Oklahoma. He has certainly led Oklahoma to a terrific start to the season. I wouldn't say I'm like higher or lower on him. I just need to watch more of him in SEC play because he has some real tendencies that concern me in terms of his ability to finish at the rim. He has not been great as a finisher at the rim in half court situations this year. Turnovers, does not, consistently make great decisions as a passer, in my opinion, and can sometimes over penetrate and over dribble and get himself into a little bit of trouble. He's also not really a shooter at this point. So there are a number of things that I think he's going to have to work through in order to be a good NBA player early in his career. And I don't really see him being a good NBA player early in his career, but he might be so capable of getting paint touches and driving, buckets at the basket because he is such a lightning quick driver of the ball and has good last step acceleration, has good first step acceleration. Like the name Monte Ellis is one that has kind of come up when I've talked to NBA scouts. Like that's kind of an interesting one to me, but he's one that has certainly risen up the boards this year. And, we all kind of want to see more. The last guy, this is more like in Maui and just throughout the course of the season, is Jace Richardson at Michigan State. Jason Richardson, former dunk contest champions kid, couldn't be more different as players. Like Jace is basically kind of ground bound and is not this high flyer like Jason was, and is, just this really smart, super high level decision maker more than anything. Whenever I watch him, I am such a big fan of watching the way that he makes defensive decisions, watching the way that he makes consistent decisions as a passer. He played with the Boozer twins at Columbus down in Miami and, didn't really get a chance all that often on the ball necessarily because Cam particularly, potential number 1 overall pick, number 2 overall pick next season, is on the ball all the time there because he's, a Paulo Banchero type kind of prospect, maybe a little bit thicker and not quite as capable on the ball, but, something in that vicinity. So he hasn't gotten like a crazy amount of on-ball reps throughout the course of his career. And at Michigan State, he's obviously not getting a crazy amount either because Tom Izzo doesn't really hand the ball over to freshmen regularly. But I do think there's a lot of latent ball skill there. Really big shoulders, kind of in that, people will bring up the name Jalen Brunson when I talk to them, but, I don't quite think it's that necessarily, but Jalen wasn't what he is now when he was a freshman. So you never know. Right. But like big shoulders, really good footwork, really good gathers, great decision maker, just kind of has all of that. It's just that he's not a super athlete. So it's going to take, him being elite at all of that stuff in terms of the footwork and the gathers once he gets to the NBA in order to be able to reach his ceiling as a potential on-ball player. But even off the ball, he's a super high level shooter, a really good defender. He's just a little bit small.
So there's a few teams in like the mid to late lottery. I'm thinking like the Thunder have this Philly pick. Think about even like San Antonio or Golden State that could really use like a big wing shooter. And there's a couple of those guys in this range in Con Knipple and Liam McNeely. Yeah. I really like both these guys, but I don't know who. I think after watching them both, I really honestly don't know who I think is better. Who do you think is better and who do you think will go higher in this draft?
Yeah, 50-50 on who goes higher. Liam unfortunately has an ankle injury right now. Hopefully he gets back and is able to kind of showcase what he's capable of. I think Con probably has a bit of a higher ceiling because I think Con is a little bit more natural on the ball. Not like a point guard necessarily, but can run second side ball screen actions. The reason that Con remains so high for NBA teams is largely because he hasn't shot the ball great this year. But like if you go back through his high school career, he's like a knockdown guy. Like he's an absolute flamethrower. It's kind of everything else. He's just done everything else really, really well. He's been a really good defender this year for Duke. He's highly, highly competitive, much like Cooper. He can run second side ball screens. He can really pass the ball. He isn't like a breakdown dudes off the bounce shot creator, but he is a guy who can create his own shot from time to time. So eventually the shooting is going to come. Like Con is not going to be a 35% 3-point shooter. He's going to be like close to a 40% 3-point shooter. So when you kind of put all of that together and stack it up, I like Con a little bit more personally, but Liam's another kid that's super competitive, knockdown shooter, way better defensively than what I think he gets credit for, in all honesty, because his block and steal numbers are quite low. Really, really sharp without the ball. Connecticut is starting to use him on the ball as their primary initiator before his injury, because they just trust him to make decisions and they don't have a great point guard. So I'm a big fan of both of them, in all honesty. And I have both of them in the top 10 right now.
Yeah. There's no way Con is 6'7", right?
So I've been told like definitely over 6'5" without shoes.
Okay.
Whether or not he comes in at 6'7", I don't think he's going to come in at 6'7" without shoes.
Yeah.
But if you told me he's like 6'6", 7'5" with shoes, like I've been told he's bigger than what people have thought coming in.
Okay. I just have watched him because I'm honestly just thinking about the Thunder. Like, can the Thunder get a guy who's like 6'7", 6'8" to come off the bench and be a shooter? Like, if they could steal one of those guys in the draft, because that's like the one piece they don't really have. It's like a guy that's
their guy. Like they would love Con.
Yeah. Also,
that doesn't come from having talked to them about it. I just know that I know what they value. Like, I feel like I have a pretty good handle on it, because frankly, it's kind of similar to what I value in the draft.
Yeah.
Just big, can shoot, super competitive, great character, like high feel for the game. He ticks all of their boxes, in my opinion.
Yeah. And his name is Knipple.
There are a lot more Knipples coming too. There's a big family up in Wisconsin, and they have a lot of high level hoopers there.
It's a lot more Knipples if you want them out there, boys.
Sam, our last question about this upcoming draft is, every season seems like there's a couple players who get off to a really hot start. Everyone gets excited. They shoot up mock drafts, and then conference play starts and everything kind of grinds to a halt, comes back to earth once they have to face consistently good competition. Are there any players who you are especially interested to see how they handle conference play?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned Fears. I would say Fears is the guy that I'm most looking forward to in that respect. Trey Johnson is a guy that people got real excited about. Just for the people here, I was looking at Texas's on-off numbers earlier in terms of the guys that are helping the team consistently, the guys that are hurting the team consistently, right? 5 of their top 6 players have a positive on-off rating. Arthur Kaluma's plus 22.4, Caden Shedrick plus 4.6, Jordan Pope plus 8.2, Kendall Weaver, plus 11, Julian Larry plus 4, right? Trey Johnson is a minus 15.7 in terms of his on-off differential right now for Texas.
Uh-oh.
You look at the shooting and he's shot it out of the ball, and, his average like 18, 19 points a game so far. But that's one that I have never really bought into throughout the course of this year. And he's one that I would have some worries about, I think I would say.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking rookies. And we're back after that quick break. Sam, the narrative about this rookie class was that this is one of the worst in recent memory. Big picture, has this draft performed about as well as you expected, better than you expected? Where are you at with this class right now?
I mean, I was probably one of the people that said that. I don't. I'm trying to be nice about this. Look, there's not been much like positive production in this rookie class. Like, we can just kind of put it that way.
Sure.
I mean, like, would Cason Wallace's rookie year last year, like, would he be third in the rookie of the year
Maybe
voting right
Maybe.
now? Probably, right? Like, I think that people would have Jalen Wells ahead of him just because of the counting numbers at the end of the day.
I was going to say the scoring is probably like the only thing that held Kaysen back, but Kaysen was such a great defender right out the gate.
Yeah. And like, I would still take Kaysen over Jalen Wells. So like,
Sure.
you know, it's tricky, and that's no disrespect to Jalen. Jalen's had a great year, but like, I have Jalen Wells right now as my rookie of the year. I have rookie rankings coming tomorrow with The Athletic as we speak. So probably up by the time that this goes live. And, you know, Jalen Wells is number one for me right now. And Jalen went, 39th, I think, in the draft. And I think I had him ranked like 47, 48. And I was probably too low on him, but Jalen is a guy that has knocked down shots and taken on tough assignments defensively, and that's kind of the extent of it so far. Like, he's averaging 11 points, hasn't really produced much across the rest of the box score. It's just not a great rookie class. It was always a draft where you hope that there would be some development down the road, where there'd be a number of players who would really emerge and step up and become those kind of all-star caliber players, right? So this class is performing down to my expectations. I just didn't think there were many guys who would come in and make an impact immediately.
Well, yeah, we might be a little down on it, but what if we gave them some awards, huh, Sam? That might make people feel better about the class. I've come up with 8 rookie awards. All right. They're all named after players in the NBA. And you're going to award each of these to someone in the current rookie class to get people excited. Some of them are not good awards, but it's still an award. Someone's got to win. Someone's a winner. So the first award, the Scotty Barnes Award. This award goes to the rookie who has flashed a skill that you were not expecting to see in their rookie season. Flashback to Scotty Barnes suddenly being able to score at all 3 levels his rookie season at the beginning, winning rookie of the year. Has there been any players who have flashed a skill that you just were not expecting to see?
I think that my answer would be Jared McCain to this. Jared McCain's I was actually always a little bit higher. Like, I had a lottery grade on McCain, and I was always a little bit higher on him because I did think that there was some latent ball skill there that he didn't get a chance to show all the time at Duke. I think I even thought that there were some Fred VanVleet kind of outcomes in terms of super high level shooter, tough defensively, maybe not great off the ball defensively, but super strong lower half, willing to fight as a smaller guy on defense. I did not see the offensive growth coming this quickly with him on the ball. Jared McCain, we talked about the strength of this rookie class. Like, Jared McCain is out for the year. I think he played 23 games this year, right? And I still have him third in rookie of the year voting and rookie rankings right now, because what he showed on the ball in terms of being able to create consistently and efficiently as an NBA player this early. He averaged 15 points, 46% from the field, 38% from 3, 88% from the line, had a true shooting percentage that was above league average despite having a usage rate that was really, really high. Like, he was up at 25% usage because he was taking on a ton of responsibilities with Tyrese Maxey out. And then you look at, he had a monster stretch there from the beginning of November until, right around Thanksgiving, where he was just a stud. So I would say that the ability for McCain to consistently use his pace and use his change of tempo to get downhill and be able to score from inside the arc and not just be reliant on his 3-point shot, that would be probably my main skill that I didn't see coming this quickly.
What about the Derek Lively Award? The award that goes to the rookie whose fit with his team is even better than you could have imagined.
Yeah, I think this is for me. I went with AJ Mitchell here.
Another rookie who's going to miss a lot of time, and a rookie that we know very well. Yes, go ahead.
I loved AJ Mitchell. I had a first round grade on AJ too. Thought the Thunder were super lucky to get him at number 40 overall. I thought that he was a little bit more of an on-ball guy than what he has proven himself to be. Like, I remember talking to him pre-draft, and he was like, no, like, I feel pretty good shooting off the catch. It's just I didn't have to do it at Santa Barbara because I was playing in the, he didn't say this, but like, he's playing in the Big West, and, he had to be so responsible for everything that they did that, he felt like he could shoot it at a real level. And he proved that in a big way. I thought that his defense was timely, rotationally. Like, he's not a difference maker on that team defensively. Like, they have 7 guys with an all defense case, it feels like, this year. But he was smart. Like, he knew where he had to be, he knew where to rotate. Him being able to fit in as a player that could play both on and off the ball for an Oklahoma City team that does need like one more ball handler, I would argue, consistently to emerge. Enormous, like absolutely enormous. And, he's an absolute keeper for them. I'm assuming that they're going to have to break into their room exception that they still have some of in order to retain him on a longer term deal here when they convert him before the season ends.
Yeah. And he's on a 2-way contract, has not spent 1 minute with the G League, and will not. I've had conversations with him about that, and he's, he said they haven't even really talked about it since they got there. And it was just because they saw what he could do, which is pretty cool. And AJ's just like the best guy. Like, he's just such a great dude. One
of like the coolest like NBA prospects I've talked to, just in terms of, he just has this like quiet, like free-spirited, like confidence though. Like, you can tell that like he's like very self-assured in what he's doing, and like that he's all about the right things, because he is all about the right things. But it's also just like has like that, went to college for 3 years at Santa Barbara, laid back mentality, like perfect vibe for him. Just such an interesting dude. Yeah.
So our next award, the Johnny Davis Award. Probably already know that you don't want to win this one. This award goes to the rookie who you're not freaking out about yet, but there are already some signs that significantly worry you.
Yeah, so I have 2 names here. Cody Williams is probably one. Again, I always thought Cody was much more of a long-term play than what other people seem to, or whatever. Like, he's so skinny, it's just going to take a lot of time for him. He is just he's a very different human than what his brother Jalen is, right? Like, Jalen, was 6'1" or whatever up until his senior year of high school, and grew and then grew again at Santa Clara, and like developed this enormous, massive chip on his shoulder, and that carries through to everything that he does. Whereas like Cody Williams was immediately evaluated as like a top 10 player in his class and a 5-star player. And, I would hope that this year kind of allows Cody to develop that same chip on his shoulder, that desire to prove people wrong that Jalen has. I think that this could end up being like a good thing for Cody Williams, maybe, if he's able to do that. But I mean, just the sheer lack of strength at this point. He is just really, really incapable of playing on an NBA court right now because of that lack of strength. He can't get anywhere on the court, and he just kind of gets blown through defensively. Really needs to hit the weight room, needs to be physically strong and able to like kind of deal with bumps. The other guy, just, Tidjon Salon has been able to like get some minutes here for Charlotte, which I had some questions about coming into the year. I will say that like many of the flaws that I saw with Salon, I had him at like 13-ish, something like that. Like, I saw it as an informed bet where like if it really broke right, it might break right, and you get like an Aaron Gordon-y kind of, defensive player who can not be as vertical as Aaron Gordon, because Salon was always a terrible finisher in France, but could play defense and has the right mentality. Like, he's super aggressive. He has no fear. Like, he's very confident in himself as well. But the lack of finishing, the lack of like consistent shooting ability, like all that continues to the flags for Salon remain the flags is kind of the thing right now. And that is always a bit of a worry when that's the case.
The Herb Jones Award, the award that goes to a second round pick or undrafted player that will be taken in the lottery in redrafts.
Yeah, this is Jalen Wells for me. Jalen Wells is going to be a really good NBA player for a long time. He is a 38% three-point shooter that I think will get better at that. His shot is beautiful. I have no concerns about that. That has also shown that he can handle things defensively, and that's probably where I misevaluated him. And look, he's a fascinating prospect that we'll talk about in a second here, but I didn't love him defensively at Washington State. I even went back and watched a couple of games at Sonoma State when he was there. Thought he was okay on that end at the JUCO level, but wasn't a crazy defender to me. The fact that he's come in and has really embraced taking on tough assignments for the Memphis Grizzlies, they've challenged him to do that every night, and he's done it. Look, I don't think he's been a great defender this year, but he's been totally passable at guarding some of the league's best players, and that is a really difficult thing to ask a rookie to do, even if he is 21 years old. So, he's going to play in the NBA for a long time, and how people end up missing on this guy is just classic, double whammy of late bloomer physically, who, was under 6 foot in high school at one point and then shot way up during COVID and had to deal with not being able to be scouted really during COVID all that much, being in, all due respect to the Sacramento area, but not really a basketball and high school hotbed. And he, continued to emerge and, didn't even have a D1 offer coming out of high school, and goes to Sonoma State, plays there for 2 years, goes up to Washington State, plays great last year, and, has that mentality of work and putting in the work, and has continued to emerge and continued to get better. Prime example of development not stopping, once you don't get a scholarship, right?
So our next award, the Jalen Suggs Award, which goes to a rookie who's gotten off to a slow start, but who you still fully believe in.
Yeah, this is Reed Shepherd for me. I have no worries whatsoever about Reed. I know that people, have brought up the fact that they aren't as good with him on the court. I just think that it's a total lack of consistent role thing for him to me. He just went down into the G League and dropped 49, 8, and 5 or something like that in his first G League game. He was completely absurd. I watched that game. He got wherever he wanted, whenever he wanted. Still an awesome shooter, still has real ball skills and pick and roll, thinks the game at a super high level. It's just that he's behind Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green, and that's a hard spot to be for any, young player. They're trying to win now, and they have a couple of really good guards. You can't play him with Fred VanVleet. It just doesn't work size-wise for what they want to be defensively. So, Fred plays 38 minutes a night or whatever, and it's rightfully so, by the way. It's just going to be tricky to try and manage that whole thing, I think.
What about the Domantas Sabonis Award? This award goes to a rookie who's in a situation that might not be the best fit on court.
So, this one was hard for me. I went with Donovan Clingan, and it's not really scheme based or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just that he's stuck behind DeAndre and Rob Williams a lot of games. Yeah. And, if both those guys are playing one night, and the Blazers have done they haven't done a good job, but the Blazers in general, have had, DeAndre get hurt for a minute, and then, Rob was hurt, for 30 games this year or whatever, 25 games. So they haven't had to manage this issue a ton yet. But when I watch Clingan, I'm this dude should be playing 25 minutes a night immediately. Yeah. He's awesome. He is really, really good and really capable of taking on big minutes, I think, immediately. It's just that, unfortunately, he is stuck behind those two guys. And part of the problem is for Portland right now, I don't think there's a taker for Ayton. That's going to be really, really tricky for them to figure out. And then on top of that, Rob Williams is in a funky spot too, where he's played 12 games this year. And, like is he could really help a team, but what team is going to actually give them value for Rob Williams, not knowing if he can actually stay healthy in the playoffs. So they're in a tough spot. I think Klingen's in a tough spot. I would hope that they're able to move one of those two bigs before the deadline and just really clear the way for Klingen.
So next up is the Ja Morant Award, which goes to the rookie, if they exist, Sam, who has already done enough to change who you would have had ranked number one in this class. If you could go back in time.
Yeah, no, not for me, really.
Okay.
I had Sarr at 1. I had Reed Shepherd at 2, and I had Steph Castle at 3. Like, I feel good about that based off of what we've seen so far. Sarr has had a really strong stretch of games here over his last 10 or so. I think he's averaging like 15, 7 and 3 assists and, shooting like 49, 44 and like 65 or whatever it is from the line. But, defensively, like he still has some warts to work out, like in terms of positioning, in terms of where he is on the court. But I still think Sarr has played a really strong stretch of games, and he was always more of a project. You were hoping that, like, as he gets stronger and gets more physical and is capable of dealing with bumps a little bit more often, that he'd be able to be the kind of stretchy big man that can protect the rim that teams are constantly seeking all the time in the NBA. He's had a couple of plays where he's like grabbed and gone on the defensive glass and like really, really flashed some ball skills. So yeah, like I'd still probably have Sarr at 1, like probably Reed at 2 and probably Castle at 3 in all honesty. I like all three of those guys. I'm a fan of them and think that they're probably going to work out as high level players. But again, like I didn't have anyone as a tier 1 or a tier 2 grade in this class. And I think that's ultimately, borne itself out in how they've played to this point.
The Bones Highland Award. This award goes to a rookie who puts up stats as a rookie, but who he hasn't really changed your opinion of the pre-draft opinion of yours. Who you got?
Yeah, so like nobody is like putting up immense stats, right?
Yeah.
So like this one's a little bit hard. I would say Keyshawn George is probably like the guy here for me. Like I didn't have a super high grade on Keyshawn, does consistently play a bunch of minutes for the Washington Wizards. I know that they've kind of reduced that recently after he was like really, really, really in the mix heavily early in the season, but he's still playing like 20 to 25 a night, it feels like. And, look, he's not super athletic. He is a shooter. Like I think he probably will shoot off the catch, but he's not making shots this season. But I've never really bought the ability to like score on the interior. I've thought he's always kind of like one of those guys that people think have ball skills, but like doesn't really have enough for the, guard position really. So he has to be a wing. He has to be a super high level defensive wing. Shown some flashes there, but I haven't seen a ton to where I'm, beating down the door to say like, if I'm in a front office, like, yeah, let's try and go steal Keyshawn George. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our final award, Sam, the Victor Wembanyama Award, Hector Banana Bread. This award goes to the rookie.
Can you explain the Hector Banana Bread thing to me? Because like I have no idea where that came from, and I just looked on Twitter one day.
It's so funny.
Saw it.
It was from a Reddit post. It was a girlfriend of a guy who was wanting to buy a jersey for him for a gift, and she couldn't remember the name of his favorite player, and she was giving like some details about him. Like, oh, he's like lives in Dallas. He watches the Mavs, but he also likes these other teams. And then she said, and I think his name is something like Hector Banana Bread. But every time I Google that, all that comes up are banana bread recipes.
Banana bread recipes.
I wonder why. Like maybe Google the Spurs.
Well, honestly, she didn't mention the Spurs at all.
It wasn't in her post at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Hector Banana Bread, when you think about it, it like had to be Victor Wembanyama. Like, who else could that possibly be? So that's where that came from.
So funny.
It's quite good. Yeah.
So this award goes to the rookie who has had the single most impressive flash so far this season. It could be a single game, a single quarter, or a single play. It's the moment you remember most from this rookie class so far.
I think I would just say the stretch that Jared McCain had before he got hurt. Right?
Yeah.
Before Tyrese Maxey came back. Like, McCain just went like totally bananas in that run. Yeah, for a 7-game stretch, he had 26 points, 4 assists versus only 2 turnovers. He shot 51, 46, 96 in a 7-game stretch, like in the NBA. And, that was against the Knicks, Cleveland, Orlando, Miami, Memphis, like really, really good teams night in, night out, and was consistently just putting up buckets and scoring in the way that he was. Look, like, I don't know what the future holds for Jared McCain, like if he's an all-star or if he's just going to be like a really, really good NBA player, but we know that he's a really good NBA player now. And that's the stretch that has stuck with me most throughout the course of this year.
He went completely bananas. He went completely Hector Banana Bread. I just like that he used the word bananas. That's all I could think about the whole time you were talking. Sorry. Okay, keep going.
All right, Sam, thanks for giving all those awards. But now you get to play Andrew versus the Beat, which you've played many times before. I've come up with 8 questions all about this year's rookie class. Okay, all the guys we've just been talking about. And I will say, this was the quickest I've ever come up with 8 trivia questions. It only took me 20 minutes to do this, okay?
Wow.
I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know if that means they're good questions, but I got them done fast. So
Questions.
they are questions. So Sam, you just have to give me a number between 1 and 8, and you know the rules. You get 2 points if you get it right. Andrew gets a steal. So where would you like to start?
3.
Question number 3. Which 2024 lottery pick, other than Nikola Topic, has yet to shoot a free throw?
Has yet to shoot a free throw. Okay, so let's just like eliminate players here. These are not answers. These are eliminations.
Okay.
Okay, so Sar is not the answer here. Ricochet is not the answer here. Reed is like a very real potential answer here, I think. Castle is not an answer here. 5 was Holland. Holland is not an answer because he missed those 2 free throws at the end of a game. Salon is not an answer. I don't think he's played enough to where he shot free throws. Let's see. Edie is definitely not an answer here. Klingon is definitely not an answer here. Cody Williams is not an answer here. He's played too many games. Who else here am I missing? What other names? Yeah, I'm going to say Reed Shepherd.
Sam? That is incorrect. Andrew, you have a chance to steal.
Oh, boy. What about Dillingham?
Andrew, that is
answer.
correct.
Yeah.
Rob
Yes.
Dillingham is correct. Now, Reed Shepherd has taken 6. So you're pretty close.
Yeah, that's not very many.
Okay, Andrew, board is yours.
Number 1.
Question number 1. Okay, I feel like the rest of these, like, you'll be able to come up with an answer. This one, you might just be screwed. Isaiah Collier has a 34% turnover rate. 34%. The last time a rookie played at least half of his rookie season and had over a 25% turnover rate was the 2012-13 season, when this international rookie had a 27.1% turnover rate while playing regular minutes for a playoff team.
2012-13 international player
That played on a playoff team.
that played on a playoff team. This is kind of evil, Alex.
Don't.
I should probably throw one more hint in there. I don't know if it would help you, but I was going to add Eastern Conference playoff team. So that's all I'll give you. Does that help?
Cuts it in half there for me. I mean, kind of, not really.
I'm like trying to think of like international players. You said 2012, 13.
He was
right?
in the.
That's
he
right.
was in the. He was in the 12 draft.
I'm just saying he played his rookie season in the 2012-2013 season.
I don't even think that there were many. I'm like really trying to think through that class. Like, for some reason, I think that was a college heavy class.
Dude, I don't know.
Dude,
I don't have an answer. I can't even think of an international player from the 12 draft. It's like why I'm saying this. That's like that's the Dion Anthony Davis draft, right? Was there anybody?
Yeah, that's definitely right, Andrew, in terms of like the draft year.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Evan Fournier. I think Evan Fournier. But that doesn't even make sense as an answer, but whatever.
that's wrong.
God.
Okay.
Sam, you got any guesses?
I mean, like my immediate response was
Anger.
like, yeah, I'm like really trying to think through it. Like, I mean, like, so Eastern Conference, like playoff team, my first, like the first place I went was Dario Saric. But I don't think he turned the ball over that much. And I don't think he came over late. So like, I don't think he even like, I think that's like 3 years too late even. I'm like trying to think like who it could even be.
I have no idea.
Now, to be clear, I said his rookie season was the 2012.
Obviously he was not in the 12 class, but
Bojan Bogdanovic is going to be my guess. That feels like a right era at least.
That is also incorrect. I'll give you some more clues. Let's just keep going. He wasn't drafted.
Undrafted.
Yeah, you guys got hung up on that. He was signed as a free agent.
Okay.
Timmy?
No.
Good old Timmy Mozzie.
And then the easiest one, although he did play for a team that Mozgov once played for, he's the oldest rookie in NBA history. It's Pablo Prigioni.
Okay. Yeah.
Pablo Prigioni.
Wow.
Thanks,
Alex. Cool stuff.
It's Pablo. It sounds like you guys wouldn't have even got it if I had said the oldest rookie in NBA history.
Oh, no. Yeah, zero
what?
shot.
Okay. Sam,
yeah.
the board is yours.
Maybe you said the oldest rookie ever and is Italian. Then maybe
and his
I
last name is Prigioni.
I think he's Argentine, isn't he? Like,
yeah, he's the head coach of the Argentine basketball team.
Oh, Argentine. See, I know nothing.
What if I had said he's a current assistant coach in the NBA? Would that have anything?
I mean, I see him on my TV, but I would not have thought of him.
I
see him on my TV.
Yeah.
Okay, right, Sam,
let's go number
7.
This is bad.
Oh, this is my favorite question. There are only 13 rookies in the 10x5 club, which just means that they've totaled at least 10 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 steals, and 10 blocks this season. In total, obviously not averaging. We're going to try to name all 13 rookies who are in this club, the 10x5 club. So how this works, Sam will give me an answer, then Andrew will give me an answer. We'll go back and forth till one of you stumbles. So they have to have at least 10 blocks, at least 10 steals, and then points, rebounds, and assists.
Okay. My first guess is going to be Zach Edey.
That is correct.
Okay.
Andrew.
What about the other Zach, Risachet?
That is correct.
Oh, I got nervous. I don't know why I got nervous. I was like, that's kind of like...
Yeah, this is hard. Eve Missy has played a ton of minutes this year, so I'm going to say Eve.
He's played so many minutes.
That is correct. Andrew.
What about Steph Castle?
Steph Castle? Risky, Andrew, but that's correct. Going with a guard with 10 blocks, you know, that's the tough one.
Yeah, he's a monster. I like Steph Castle.
I'm going to say next.
Mm-hmm.
John Mabo at Toronto. Because I'm trying to think of like
you are
blocks.
correct.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Back to Andrew. You guys are doing great. You thought this was going to be a hard question. You're doing so good. You guys guys are
What
doing
about-
so good.
What about Sar?
Who?
Sar.
Oh, Alex Sar?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry,
No,
I was
Olivier.
No, well, you were saying I was hearing a Sar.
For
no,
what
no.
it's worth, I also heard a SAR, and I was like, wait,
Oh,
what the
see?
fuck?
It's your fault.
Sorry, guys. I'll talk better.
All right, back to Sam. You guys have gotten 6 of the 13 names, almost halfway there.
Ryan Dunn.
Yes, he is in the 10 by 5 club.
Ryan Dunn.
Ooh, Andrew.
Wow.
It's getting dicey.
It's getting very dicey. What about the I'm just trying to think of guys that have actually played a lot because you just need to play a lot. What about Keyshawn George?
Andrew, he is on the list.
Yes.
Wow, back to Sam. There's only 5 names left.
Okay.
What if you guys sweep this? Wouldn't that be
That'd
cool?
be amazing.
That would
I don't think
rock.
it's going to happen. I'm going to say, oh man, this is where I have to like do some math now. Why are you making me? I didn't know that math was going to be involved here. Oh man. I'm like trying to think like his Tristan Da Silva like blocked enough shots to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. I think my answer is no, maybe. Oh God. I'm gonna go Klingon.
Klingon.
That is correct. Donovan Klingon's on the list. There's only 4 names remaining, Andrew.
Oh boy. What about the other Phoenix rookie, Oso?
Andrew, that's correct. He's on the
That's
list.
a good name.
3 names remaining.
Plays a lot.
Wow. 3 names remaining. This is exciting.
We've done quite well here, Andrew.
This feels good.
This does feel good, doesn't it?
Honestly, you guys are both winners, no matter who loses.
What is happening?
No matter who gets 0 points for this, you guys both did great. Let's just call it here. You want to just call it here?
Do we just call it here? Oh man, this is gross.
Only 3 more names. Got to be able to block. Got to be able to steal.
Is this like what the hell is that? There's like a song like that, isn't it? Oh my
Are you thinking of Shaq's shoot pass slam song?
Yeah, is that what you're thinking of?
no.
Okay.
I'm oh man, this is such a bad guess. I'm going to say Tristan Da Silva, but I don't know. If he has the blocks, it's by like 1, I bet.
Tristan Da Silva this year has 7 blocks. He is not in the 10 by 5
Oh
club.
man.
Now listen to these other names. Khalil Ware. Maybe you would have gotten
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
I
Modest
probably wouldn't
Puzelis.
have
Modest.
Modest is on the list. And then the
Wow.
one I don't
gotten
think you would
there
have
either.
ever gotten, but is awesome, is Reed Shepard. He's on this list.
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
But he hasn't played like a ton of minutes.
I know, but when you think about Reed, it kind of makes sense. That's wild though.
I wouldn't have gotten to read either.
All right,
is
Andrew, you have
wild.
2 points and you have control of the board.
Let's go with number 2.
Question number 2. Excluding the 2 injured picks, Topic and Deron Holmes, which first rounder has played the fewest minutes in his rookie season?
Which first rounder has played the fewest minutes? Okay. God, this is a really hard question. This is such a weird class to even think about it.
Yeah, it is.
Because
There's a lot of competitors.
there's
Yeah.
so many guys.
So I have 3 names, and I'm hoping that you take one of them, and that one of the ones that you have is wrong.
Yeah. Oh boy. What about I just don't think I've seen Baylor Shireman play at all for Boston.
At all?
That's one of my names.
I've watched a lot of Boston, and I have not seen him play. I will go with Baylor.
Andrew, he has played 34 minutes, and that is not the fewest. So you did not get that right.
Okay.
So Sam, you have a chance to steal.
That actually helps me a little bit, that hint.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Oh, really? Oh, you're welcome. Although it's going to be embarrassing if you get it wrong now.
The other name I had that I'm not going to guess is Devin Carter, because Devin Carter just came back, right? But
yeah,
34 being so low, like Devin's definitely played 34 minutes in the 5 games or whatever.
He's played 32.
My other name is I don't think I've seen AJ Johnson play this year. So
he has played 11 minutes.
Oh,
and that is correct, Sam. He is the answer.
That's a good call. I forget about AJ Johnson.
Very nice. It's 2-1. Sam, you control the board.
Okay, let's go number 8. I always feel like that is a funky one.
No one's gotten their own question right yet. You've just been stealing, just stealing points. Okay, question number 8. Zach Edey has played 25 games. How many dunks has he had? Now you get to choose who answers first. You can make Andrew answer, and then you go higher or lower. Or you can answer, and then Andrew can go higher or lower. If you make Andrew answer, though, and he gets it exactly correct, he will get a bonus point.
Yeah, Andrew can go first.
All right, Andrew, you get to set the bar for Zach Edey dunks.
I just feel like I don't know.
And I will say that we are recording on a night when the Grizzlies are playing. I do not know how many dunks he's had tonight. So this is as of Sunday night. Okay, if that affects your answer in any way. He did have 2 points tonight.
He dunks a lot. I do know that. I'll say 40 dunks.
All right, Andrew has set the bar at 40 dunks. Sam, would you like to go higher or lower?
So that is the number I would have, I think I would have said 42.5. So that's gross, Andrew. I'm going to say under.
Zach Edey has had, by the way, Andrew, you were within 4 of the correct answer.
Yeah, that was the right. That was a good number, Andrew.
Dang it.
Correct answer was 36. It was lower. So Sam gets 2 points. He's pulled ahead.
Ouch.
3-2. Andrew has controlled the board. 3 questions remaining.
Man. All right. Number 4.
Question number 4. Which rookie has run the most miles this season?
Which rookie has run the most miles this season?
And you know what?
You're getting cardio, baby.
Just because
there,
I'm feeling generous, I'm going to tell you how many miles it was. 86. If that helps.
that helps so much.
86 miles.
Shoot. It's just somebody that's played a ton would be my guess.
I think I have 2 names that I would guess.
God, I just don't. I have a name, but I just don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it at all. I also just think about the Wizards. I'm just watching them the other night. They just move around like aimlessly a lot of times, but it could be a long way. Okay. What about Yves Misi?
Yves Misi. Andrew, that is incorrect.
Dang it.
Sam, you have a chance to steal 1 point. You could take a commanding 4-2 lead.
So my 2 names here are Ricochet and Carrington.
Okay.
I thought about Bub. What about Bub?
I'm going to play what I think is the pace game. Okay. I'm going to say Bub is my answer.
That is correct. Andrew. You were
Bub is
thinking about the Wizards.
I can't
Bub
believe
is
I
like
said
sneaky,
that.
like, because
And
again, like
didn't
I'm
even
a
choose a
little bit,
wizard.
I'll say this, like I'm a little bit advantaged here because I've just recently filed rookie rankings and like have looked through these numbers a little bit. Like Bub has sneaky played like 100 more minutes, I think, than like anybody else this year.
Yeah, he's run 7 more miles than number 2.
Who's number 2?
I think it was Jalen Wells.
Okay, that would make sense too because he's tracking defensively.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Sam, commanding lead 4-2. Two questions
this is the
remaining.
first time in a while. I better not
Soak it
this
up.
Is the thing. Number 6.
The NBA unveiled a new stat this season called Dunk Score, where they analyze every dunk using tracking data and give it a score. And somehow this John Collins dunk is the number 1 dunk this season. According to this metric, which rookie has had the best dunk so far this season?
I mean, this is Eve Missy. Like
That is correct.
Is it really?
Is correct. Yes.
I just threw like a big dunks name out there. I was like, okay, like Eve, whatever. He dunks.
Yeah, he dunks.
Yeah, see, you got there. Great job. By the way,
What was the dunk score and what was it, Alex? Do we know?
I don't remember his. I was getting so angry last night. Honestly, I could have done these questions in 15 minutes if I haven't spent 5 minutes just going through all of the top dunks and getting pissed at this. The number 1 dunk is a John Collins dunk. And the reason it's the number 1 dunk is because they have all these different metrics. And one of the metrics is like how much the defender was contesting it. And for that, he got a 99 on his dunk. But it was Kobe White. Like,
Yeah.
big whoop. Christian Brown, he had a dunk against Rudy Gobert that almost started a fight immediately after.
Yeah.
Objectively a better dunk. Jalen
Yeah.
Green had an awesome dunk against Cade. That was number 2 actually on the dunk score list. They got to figure this out. They got to figure this out. But it is very fun. You can go on the website and click on each individual one and watch it. Oh, I don't need to show you that, Andrew. Andrew, you get to take a stab at the last question. And you can't win, but you can get within 2.
Okay.
Which rookie has taken the most amount of clutch shot attempts? So as a reminder, this is final 5 minutes of a game that is within 5 points. Which rookie has taken the most shot attempts?
Which rookie has taken the most clutch shot attempts?
So first of all, you got to be in the clutch.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
First of all.
Not that it matters.
Then you got to be in the game, in the crunch.
That's true. In the crunch.
Bro. What about Steph Castle?
Andrew, that's it. You got it right. You guys did
Hey!
great.
Yeah, it was
Look at that.
also mine. Yeah, I was between him
That
and
was a high scoring
McCain.
game.
Yeah.
See, it seemed hard, but you guys figured out a lot of those. Pretty good.
Yeah, that was
pretty good.
That was tough.
That was a good one.
Go listen to Game Theory Podcast on YouTube. Would be a great place to listen to it. Also, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's a great show. And go read all of Sam's stuff at The Athletic. It's just the best in the business, and you have to read it. So, rookie rankings. You have a mock draft that came out recently. Anything else?
Read about Jimmy Butler. At some point, either they are out already or early next week.
Okay.
I'll have an updated trade deadline big board where we'll kind of dive into the candidates that could be moved at the deadline. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, look, like I saved my best writing for Letterboxd and writing about movies. So I compared Amelia Perez to watching Bartolo Colon bat earlier today.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, that's where I'm really saving the good stuff for, I would say.
That's amazing. Sam, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course, anytime, guys.